Alright, my friends, it is time for a story time. I mean, I have not done a story time in like years, but this time it is time for a story time. Please excuse like my weird ass lash. I mean, I don't know, the lash glue has failed me today. Like, you will just have to go with the flow, you know. My lash also goes with the flow. Anyway, okay, so the topic of this video is my IUD, or the story of how I got my IUD. Um, anyway, so for all of you guys that do not know what an IUD is, it is a small thing made of copper that is used for birth control, and it is put inside your uterus if you're a woman, of course. And through this copper IUD you will not get pregnant because it just basically kills the sperm inside of you. So that is how it works, and I thought, hey, that's a great idea. It's like, you know, it doesn't have hormones or anything, which I'm totally for. Like, hey, no hormones. So I thought, you know, like, this has got to be like this has got to be the thing for birth control. Like, it calls my name, you know, that sort of thing. So I went to my gynecologist and I said, hey, I want this copper IUD, like, please put this copper IUD inside my uterus. And you know, I hate my gynecologist, at least the one that is in the town I currently live in. I have another one in the town where my parents live, and she is so much better, but I really hate her. So anyway, I just I just had to get the job done, so I didn't really care who I went to. So I went to her. I said, please put this thing inside my uterus, and she said, okay, come back when you have your period, because you can only like you know, like, it can only happen when you have your period. So I was very close to getting my period, like 3 days prior to getting my period. So 3 days later I called the office again, and they scheduled me for Monday, and I called on a Friday. So my period is relatively short, so once Monday rolled around, my period was already gone. Which I don't think is too bad, but you know, it plays a big role whether you have your period or not, because your uterus is like softer, and you know, like, it, I don't know, it's just better to put it in when you have your period, because your uterus is like in its best shape to have this thing installed. You can say that. So yeah, and like 4 to 6 hours before my appointment, which was at 10. So they really, like, did they expect me? Anyway, so 4 to 6 hours prior to the appointment, I had to take a pill that was supposed to, it's like the same pill they give you to induce you when you are about to give birth, because, you know, it kind of like opens your uterus. I don't know. So I had to take this pill, and I thought, whatever, you know, but they kind of expected me to get up at 4 a.m. Like, what the fuck? I'm not about to get up at 4 a.m. So I got up at 6 a.m., you know, like, I mean, that was bad enough. If you're a college student, like, that's bad enough. So I got up at 6, took this tablet, like this pill, and I felt okay at first. I just had like light cramping, which I never get crampings when I'm on my period, like, never. So yeah, but it wasn't too bad, like, it was okay. And at 8 a.m. I had an exam at uni that I took, so I mean, it wasn't great, but I could deal with it. And then at 10 I had the appointment at the gynecologist, and when I went to the gynecologist, I felt like I had to throw up. Like, my blood pressure was, you know, down there, and I was just really dizzy and I felt sick and I threw up twice. That was already a good start, but I mean, thank God I didn't throw up during my exam at uni. Like, I mean, that's probably God's work. Like, thank you so much, God. But I mean, that's not like the best conditions for like having this thing installed. So that already kind of started off on a bad note. And then I had to wait for like an hour, whatever. And then they called me in, and she started right away. I had so many questions because, this is somewhat of a permanent decision. Well, not permanent, but it lasts around 3 to 5 years, this thing. So I had lots of questions, and she did not answer a single question of mine because she was stressed and she had so many other patients to take care of. But honestly, I don't care because it's her responsibility to like educate me on this. Like, hello, I'm paying for this. Like, no insurance covers this. I'm paying for it. It's not cheap. So please inform me. Like, can you just answer my damn questions? Anyway, she was not willing to do that. She said she had not that much time, and I could read about it online. Like, like I could be a physician. I mean, I could just read about everything online, Anyway. So I sat down on this gynecologist chair thing, and that's already scary enough. But so they had to call like a nurse in because apparently it's like difficult to perform alone, and that was already weird. And then she just got started, like without warning, without nothing. And at first she had to disinfect whatever, my hole down there thing. And then, oh my fucking God, like putting this IUD in that was the most painful thing I have ever experienced in my entire life. Like, I cannot compare it to any other kind of pain I've ever felt because it is just it is out of this world. This kind of pain is out of this world. I was not even aware of the fact that humans could experience this kind of pain. Like, it was honestly outrageous. Like, I screamed. Like, you cannot even believe how I screamed. And I never scream, but it was just like a reflex. Like, I could not even not scream. Like, I had to scream because it was so fucking painful. Like, seriously. Because, the way they put that thing in is they kind of have to forcefully open your uterus. And I mean, logically, nothing is supposed to get up there. Like, it's only things are supposed to go out of your uterus, but not the other way around. Like, no. And I mean, I should have thought of that in advance, but I was just so flattered. Like, I don't know, I was just so excited about all the bonuses of this birth control that I did not even think about how it was going to be put inside of me. Anyway, I should have done that. And it was so fucking painful. I did not get any kind of painkillers whatsoever, which that is I have no words for that. Like, why did they not offer me painkillers? But anyway. So I got this thing installed inside of me, and ever since I have serious cramping going on, and I'm bleeding all of the time, and it's almost been 2 weeks. And she said that's normal and it could probably last for the next 5 weeks, and the cramping could possibly continue for 6 months. And I'm like, oh, no, no thank you, I will not go through that for 6 fucking months. No. So honestly, like I cannot recommend this to anybody. I mean, it's nice that it does not have any hormones, but I never had like a painful period. Never. Well, yeah, when I was around like 14, 15, but that's like centuries ago. So, no, like I was always so lucky to not have a painful period, and now I have cramping all of the time and I bleed all of the time. Like, is that like that's not normal? So please, if you're thinking of getting a copper IUD, do not get a copper IUD. Like, honest to God, the probably best method of hormone-free birth control is um, natural family planning. Like, you know, the method where you like take your temperature every morning, and then you can like calculate when you are fertile and when you're not fertile. And that is what I used to do for around a year or so, and it worked perfectly fine. Like, I did not get pregnant once, as you can tell. So yeah, that worked perfectly fine, and that is my recommendation for you if you look for an alternative that is hormone free. But do not get a copper IUD. Please do not get a copper IUD. Like, unless you really are a fan of torture and like hardcore pain. Like, this is hardcore pain. And I talked to a mom who also has a copper IUD, and she said that the copper IUD was worse than the birth of her 2 kids. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm sorry, like I can't even. So basically, the pain I experienced was worse than giving birth. I'm so ready to have children now, like so ready. Anyway, like, that is everything for today's video. I hope it was somewhat informative. At least you now know to never get an IUD, a copper IUD. There's like a hormone thing IUD, but also, well, I heard better things of the hormone IUD because you don't have the cramping and the bleeding. But I mean, inserting this IUD will be just as painful, so keep that in mind. And yeah, well, don't get it. Like, no, there are other things out there. Like, don't do it, please. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to see you in my next one. Bye!